Hey Team Shuckle, what is up? Welcome back to another Wi-Fi battle. Today is another return to the Lithio GBA, and as usual it's 6v6 singles, it's draft style, and our opponent today is Riley, or 2015 just on Twitter. So every time one of these battles goes, I decide to go onto the spreadsheet, look up my opponent's team, see what they're running, what I have that could potentially counter it, and I always come up with the same team. I don't know what it is about this team, but it really works. It really works. So I looked at his team, and I figured, judging by everything he had, Metagross would probably be the best lead. I know, Mamoswine and Haxorus tend to have Earthquake. However, thinking about that, I didn't really care too much because I knew at least one of them wouldn't be able to one-hit KO me with the Earthquake, and I'd be able to do some good damage beforehand. So I decided to start off with Metagross, and I believe he started off with Mew. Now, I gotta say, this battle was ridiculously intense, and you'll see why. I'm looking right now, it's 43 turns. That's right, 43 turns. So I start off with Metagross, and he starts off with Mew. So I'm not really sure what he wants to do with Mew. Mew is probably one of the most versatile Pokemon in the game. I figured, okay, this is his Stealth Rock setter, so I bring an Espeon, but he goes for Iron Defense, and now I'm thinking, okay, he probably doesn't have Stealth Rocks. He's probably a baton passer. So I'm trying to think, okay, and then he starts setting up Calm Mind. So I'm looking at his team, I'm thinking, what does he have that would like to take Calm Mind's Iron Defense? And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to be baton passing into Blastoise. So what I decided to do was bring in Tangrowth. Now, I know Tangrowth is a bit of a risk for Mega Blastoise, because he does have Mega Blastoise. Ice Beam, especially at +1, will do a lot, but turns out he's not a baton passer. I went for Giga Drain, completely expecting him to switch into Mega Blastoise here with a baton pass, but he doesn't go for it. And I'm just like, oh my god, what is going on here? I don't really have anything to switch in on the Thunderbolt. The only thing that I have is Tangrowth, and I don't know how much longer I can last. So I go for Knockoff. Maybe this will give me more insight. However, it's weakness policy. Oh my god. So I am just not sure what to do. Knockoff didn't do enough. He's boosting up. I don't really have any switches into this thing, right? I don't know what to do. I really am at a loss for words. I continuously Giga Drain because I'm thinking, okay, Giga Drain, at least I'm getting HP back from when he attacks me. I'm doing some damage, but he has Roost, and so now, for 100% sure, he is not Baton Pass. We've seen all of his moves: Roost, Iron Defense, Calm Mind, and Thunderbolt. So I'm like, okay, so he's probably just gonna boost again. I'm gonna bring in my Pinsir. I know Pinsir's weak to Thunderbolt, but I can Swords Dance up like this and potentially outspeed and go for a return. I know he has Iron Defenses up, but Pinsir's probably my strongest, hardest hitting Pokemon I have, especially at +2. And I figured this was my best way. I had a chance in. I got a very good way to switch in, and I'm gonna go for it. So I go for a return, and it does a lot of damage, considering the boosts that this Mew has. But it's not enough. It is not enough. So I go down, and now I'm really at a loss for words. I don't know what to do. So I bring in Tangrowth again, because even he said that he has really nothing for this Tangrowth. And, I retorted, I was like, I don't have anything for the Mew either, I just have Knockoff. I don't know how long this is gonna last, I don't know what I'm gonna do. At this point, I'm thinking, I'm 6-0'd. Tangrowth has Giga Drain, but that's not really enough to gain the HP back and stuff like that. So, I was like, you know what? You're boosting, I'm gonna try and boost. So I start spamming Ancient Power, hoping I can get the boosts to match his boosts. This way I can, like, play with him, you know? I get the speed boost, you get everything. Everything gets boosted, and I needed that. But, you know, it's not happening. He's not losing that much HP, and I'm just like, this isn't worth it. I can sit here all day, waste my Ancient Powers, and not get anything. It's a 10% chance. It's not worth it. And, you know, it's like, he's starting to damage me. I'm not gaining any HP back, so I decided, you know what, it's just not worth it. I'm gonna try and just get Giga Drains. Maybe I'll crit him. I don't know. I'm not really risking too much, because if I can't beat him with my Tangrowth, I can't beat him with anything else. So I decided to try one last Ancient Power, because I was like, it is downpouring outside. I don't know if you can hear that. Decided to try one more Ancient Power, and it's just not enough. So I switch out here because I knew I have Regenerator. I knew I'll be able to do that. I think I calced it out. We weren't sure how many boosts the Mew had at this point, but I calced it out. I can survive a Thunderbolt from the range he's at right now. So he goes for Thunderbolt, and like I said, I can survive it. Not well, but I can survive it, and I go for Meteor Mash. Now, I go for Meteor Mash because it's a very powerful move, and on top of that, I get a crit, and then here is where I get so upset. I crit him, but I can't do anything back because I have Choice Band. I have Choice Band. So he gets Roost, and he gets the HP back, and there goes my secondary plan. And at this point, I'm like, there's no way I'm winning this. There is no way. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. So he ends up roosting. So I actually safely get in my Espeon, which I actually sent it in for Death Fodder so I can bring Metagross back in and go for Bullet Punch. But I get the light screen up, and I realize I can actually tank his Thunderbolt with my Melodic. And this is really where I turned it around. I decided to go for Toxic because, let's be real here, he doesn't have... There's no way I'm going to KO him with attacks. He does have Synchronize, but I actually sort of welcome the Synchronize. I have Marvel Scale, so if I use Melodic later on in the game, you know, I'll be able to tank physical hits a lot better. Plus, him doing Toxic on me, or the Synchronize thing, actually procs my Citrus Berry, giving me more HP than I would have had anyway. So I was actually really happy about that. I bring in Tangrowth again to tank the Thunderbolt, because we know that's all he can attack with. And we know that I can take it. And now I just need to stall this Mew out. Now, he could switch out, but at this point, you know, I think he's pretty much guaranteed to just stay in, so I'm not going to risk any over-predicting. I'm just going to do as much damage as I can, gain some HP back. I'm probably going to lose my Tangrowth in this, but at the same time, you know, we will beat out against something that is strong. So I end up with like around 30 HP. I gain a little bit more from the Giga Drain, not really a lot, you know, I'm sitting at 36 right now, but the Mew does go down, and I was able to play around it, and I actually only lost 2 Pokemon in the scuffle. Pinsir, a big thing on my team, and Espeon, something that's okay, you know, it's not the end of the world. So he brings in Whimsicott, and while I think I can actually do really well against this Whimsicott with my Tangrowth, I want to switch out for that Regenerator, because I can use it for some of his team. And I decided to bring in Heatran, because, you know, Heatran can also do pretty well against this Whimsicott. So Whimsicott goes out, and I believe I went for Flash Cannon here, because Lava Plume would do a lot of damage, you know? I mean, Lava Plume could be eaten up by some things. I think that's my reasoning. So I go for Flash Cannon. He does bring in Porygon too, and looking at that damage, I figured Lava Plume would do a little bit more, and I was right. So, thankfully, I'm in a good position now. Now that I got rid of something that's really threatening, I'm in a good position. So he goes for Tri-Attack. He said it was a misclick, which is unfortunate, but not for me. So he goes for Trick Room, actually, which was something that I was a little... I didn't understand why he went for Trick Room. Because his Porygon's 2 may be slower than me, but the rest of his team is actually decently fast. So I was a little confused, to be quite honest with you. He ends up bringing in Blastoise, and now I know I do outspeed this Blastoise because from personal experience on my own Trick Room team. There's no reason for me to stay in, so I decided to end up bringing in my Melodic, who can pretty much wall this thing. Orsphere will do a lot, but it can pretty much wall it. And unfortunately, because it was a Heatran, Orsphere is the best choice, and I don't take it as well as I had hoped. However, Trick Room is up, and I was somewhat certain that I'd be faster than this Blastoise, so I went for Recover. And I was right, I was faster than this. This thing must be running max speed. Maybe not Jolly, but max speed. And, you know, I'm dying to this poison, but I figured if my Melodic's gonna go down, the only real way I can beat this Mega Blastoise is if I get it poisoned. I also figured if he takes down my Melodic this turn, I can switch in my Tangrowth with the Trick Room up and actually threaten him out. Unfortunately, neither of those two things happened. So I'm gonna lose my Melodic, but at the same time, you know, his Blastoise is severely weakened, and I have a few things that I can switch in. And by severely, I mean not so much, actually. Yeah, I'm thinking a few turns ahead. So I end up bringing in Tangrowth. You know, looking at his moveset, he doesn't have Ice Beam. So I'm in a good position to use Tangrowth. However, the Dark Pulse does do a lot of damage to me. The good news is that Giga Drain does a lot too. So I'm able to put him in range where Poison almost kills him. Not enough. It really wasn't enough, and I do get flinched here. It really doesn't matter though. I mean, maybe, sort of, I would get a little bit more of HP back, but in the end, I really don't think it mattered. So he brings in Haxorus. Now, Haxorus is a physical attacker. My Tangrowth is mainly a physical wall, so I need to switch out. Now, that sounds a little weird, but at the HP range I am at, I'm not taking anything. You know, I brought in Heatran basically for death fodder. He does go for Earthquake, which he predicted the Heatran very well, but I simply brought it in for death fodder so I can bring my Tangrowth in, or I guess that's weird. I brought in my Metagross. That is weird. Why did I bring in my Metagross? I don't know. I think I brought in my Metagross here because I wanted to do damage to the Haxorus, so when my Tangrowth does come in, I can gain more HP back from Giga Drain and not really worry about, you know, damage and stuff like that. I think that's my reasoning. But yeah, so he's actually locked into Earthquake, and it's really not doing a lot of damage. He is Choice Scarfed, so I'm just gonna go for Giga Drain. Now, for not being super effective, or not very effective at all, it does good damage, and I like that damage. So he said he's Choice Scarf, and I was gonna go for Knockoff, but I really felt like that wasn't a good plan, because he has Scarf, he probably has Poison Jab, and I didn't really want to risk it. So you saw me go for Focus Blast here, and he has two Pokemon left. He's got Whimsicott and Mamoswine. I was saving that Giga Drain for Mamoswine. I had to. I had no choice. So he keeps going for Hurricane, which really has not that great accuracy. And he keeps missing, and I keep actually getting my attacks off. And this is just one of those turns that I'm thinking, oh my god. But finally, he actually gets the Hurricane off, and it does kill me, which is unfortunate. You know, I was really hoping he'd send in the Mamoswine first, because, you know, the Mamoswine would be damaged really a lot by that Giga Drain. I doubt I would have won anyway. Even with all the Hurricane misses, I honestly doubt I would have won. If I was somehow able to get a lot of HP back from the Mamoswine, I would still have to deal with that Hurricane. So there's really no way of me coming back from that, and that Mew really rocked me so hard with that, because, you know, I brought Pinsir specifically for Whimsicott, and of course I had to give up Pinsir. So maybe I didn't have to give up Pinsir. you know, but I wanted that regenerator, I needed some HP, I don't know, it was such an intense battle, and it just, I didn't know what to do half the time, because that Mew was just ridiculous. Talk about versatility, you know, you have like Aegislash, who can run like 2 or 3 sets, but then you have Mew, who can run like 60,000 sets, it can do whatever it wants, it has like great stats, okay stats, but they're still pretty good. You know, 100 base stat across the board is ridiculous, and it could just, it's one of those Pokemon that I just don't know what to do against. You know, I tried my best, Tangrowth was definitely the best option, but even then, like, I was doing no damage, so, oh well, things happen like that. I lost, it's not the end of the world. It was a great battle though. I'm really surprised I pulled out a 0-2 out of that. I really thought I was being 6-0'd at the beginning. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys at the next episode. Peace.